Hello everyone, welcome back to Perfectly Imperfect Color. This is a little bookmark paintings that I've done for you in acrylic for Space Timber. So you're going to need paper, something to tape your paper down to, paintbrushes, a sponge, somewhere to put your paint, tape, washi tape, water, paint of course, and yeah, I mean, you could do this on a regular piece of paper if you want. I just find that this is the best size. I found these tutorials on, I believe, Skillshare. I'll link everything down below. But this tape that I'm taping down, you guys, it's phenomenal. It's called frog tape, and I have it in one of my hauls. Actually, the last haul that I just did. But so it's going pretty quickly because this is kind of redundant, but you're going to need acrylic paint. You're going to need black, a couple shades of purple, and I didn't have a peach, so I kind of made one on my own. You can see here that I'm mixing matte and metallic. These are the folk art color shifts, and I'm actually mixing it in with the matte because I kind of wanted more of a metallic look to my painting. Looking back on it, I don't think it really mattered. So if all you have is matte or all you have is metallic, it doesn't really matter. I think it's going to look great either way. So I'm doing the white here, and I added some of this like white, it's basically essentially like a clear metallic almost, and then I added metallic pink to the white to kind of make a peach. What I just did right there was I added some Winsor & Newton blending medium because I knew that I wanted more time to blend out my acrylic paint because acrylic paint dries really quickly. You want to wet your sponge, and you don't want it completely saturated. You see me drying it off there. You want it a little moist, but you don't want it completely dry, but you don't want it saturated with water either. So I'm putting the black on, followed by the darkest purple, and then I'm going to start blending it out with the corner of the sponge. Now I'm using corners because I want to keep the darker colors separate from the lights. I put the paint on one by one, or like I showed here, I've got the darker colors, and then instead of putting it all on at once, because acrylic does dry quickly, and I kind of wanted just to work in sections. Now, if you only have a brush, you can do the same thing. In the next painting that I'm going to show you, I show you with a brush in case you don't have a sponge. Now, this is just a sponge that I grabbed from a watercolor palette, like a cheap watercolor palette that I've gotten that comes with these sponges. But if it's a regular dish sponge that you have, anything really, it doesn't really matter. It all works the same. So as you see, I'm getting into the lighter color now, and I'm just pulling it down, blending it out. You kind of want that, sponge texture to show through. And just darkening up the top a little bit. You're just going to mess with the colors to what you see fit. This is really easy. It's really fun. The end result comes out looking, I think, gorgeous, and it looks like it's more difficult than it really is. So I figured I'd show you guys. Right here, I'm going into that peachy pink ish kind of color and blending it out. You're going to want to take more time with this because obviously this is a big jump from color from it's a relatively dark purple into a really light color. Now, what I just did right there, I used some of that the remnants of the lighter color on the sponge, and I right there I did it again. I dabbed that color onto the top because I wanted kind of like a spacey kind of wisp in there. It's very subtle, but it helps. So in the little well that I'm using right now, I just threw some whites in again, and I figure let's throw in some Winsor & Newton iridescent medium. Looking back, I probably would keep that out because it just thinned it out a lot to where I end up going back with a second coat of just regular white paint mixed with water. Right now you see me, you don't see the water, but I'm dipping that fan brush into water and putting it into that little well. So now I'm just covering up my desk. I've got like a little shelf on that's built into the desk, and I've got paint everywhere. So I'm trying to just block off my pencils that are up there. Now I'm using a fan brush. This is the first time that I tried using a fan brush for doing this, and I didn't really care for it. So I switch over to a flat brush, and I'm trying to to use like this to drumstick it, I call it, and I end up giving up and I just use my finger. I'm adding more white to the mix because it just wasn't opaque enough. And that's where I said that Winsor & Newton probably wasn't a good idea. It's fairly transparent anyway. It's meant to go on into watercolor, so makes sense. But it is a fun medium to have. So here I am taking the black and I'm drawing a mountain down the side. You want to take it from one side horizontally down. Does not have to be perfect. It can be straight, it can be bumpy. It doesn't really matter. And then I start drawing trees. I have a difficult time with trees. For some reason, it's kind of like when I was younger with Bob Ross. I would look at these Bob Ross pictures or paintings, and he makes it look so freaking easy, does he not? Well, I try to draw my happy little trees, and I was not happy with them. So you'll see me kind of mess around a little bit and try to fix them. You think that just drawing a line and swooshes on either side is gonna be easy, and it's not, at least not for me. So I end up going over this in a second, and here I go. I draw another horizontal line. Now this is going from the right to the left, going down, and I connect the two mountains in the center. However, I do not go over, see right there I stop. I don't go over the original left mountain, and I'll explain this to you guys in a little bit, because I want these two mountains to look separate. I want one to be in the foreground and one to be in the background, and you'll see how I do this in just a minute. So I'm taking a really tiny detail brush, a detail round, and I think it's probably like a 0. Sorry, I got a phone call from one of the kids. But yeah, so I think I was at, I think it's a 0. You just need a really, really tiny liner brush. And I'm just adding little trees. You don't have to add these trees if you don't want. So here's where I take a matte black. Originally, I had the matte black mixed with metallic. So I'm taking the matte black and I'm going over the left mountain, and I'm going over the left mountain completely, but just the left mountain. And then I'm going to take the matte black, and I'm on the right mountain. I'm going to take it from the furthermost right point and kind of put the most pigment on the farthest right and blend it over, but not meeting the other mountain. So it gives it that dimension, and you can tell that it's separate. Does that make sense? I hope I'm explaining it well enough. So now we're moving on to stars. I'm going to add some additional circles of paint, and then I'm going to make a star. I start off by doing a cross shape. I'm starting light and small, and I extend it out further and kind of like flick the edges so it's tapered. And then I draw the little lines in between the bigger lines. You guys know how to draw stars. I don't know why I'm explaining that. But yeah, this painting, I think it looks really put together. I think it's beautiful, and it's a lot more simple than it looks, right? I hope you guys try, because it's a lot of fun. So now we're going to move on to the next painting. This painting, you're going to need the same purples and black, but you're going to need some additional greens. I use a darker green and a lighter green. You're going to need, a dark version and then a lighter version of each color. I add a matte black and then a metallic, the same as I did with the other one. You're going to need the same tools, you know, but with the exception of a flat brush, a big flat brush and a smaller flat brush. Now, if all of you have our rounds, that'll work too, but I think that a flat seems to work better. So here I'm going to start off with the lightest color first by just dabbing it randomly, and then I go into the darker ones slowly and blend it out. Now this, I'm showing you guys that you guys can do this with a brush if you don't have a sponge. It's relatively the same look. You're going to want to blend it out as best as you can, getting into all the corners, the edges. You're going to want that spongy type texture to the painting though. So I allowed this painting to dry because now we're going to do the Aurora Borealis, where we're going to take these green paints, starting off with the darker color, the darker tones of green, and then adding on the lighter tones, now all while mixing it with some yellow, white, mixing it with the white. When you put the paint on whatever you're using, I think that it's best to put the white in between the two colors like I did shown here, because I think it's just easier to mix. And you're gonna, what I was saying is you don't want to mix it completely, because you kind of want to have that differentiating tones in the swipe, in the paint stroke. At first it's gonna look like a hot mess, but it does come together, I promise. The end result that that I showed you in the beginning of the video, I'm not happy with. You're gonna see later on in a few minutes that I overworked the piece, and I do have a tendency to do that, but I was told to take a step back from your piece. Take a step back from whatever you're doing if you're getting kind of just stuck or overwhelmed, or you kind of feel like you're just doing something over and over and over again. Take a break if you can and come back to it. And I wish I had done that, because I think I would have benefited from it in this piece. I mean, it still came out okay, but I think it could have come out better. But then again, I tend to beat myself up. So either way, this whole process was a lot of fun. And I know I keep on saying this, but I really hope that you guys tried this out. It doesn't have to be these colors. It doesn't have to be these types of paint. Mix it up, change it up, do it your own way. Here you can see I'm taking some of the darker tones and kind of putting them in between some of the wisps or paint strokes to separate them. Here I'm doing another mountain. This time I'm only doing one, and I'm kind of doing it almost in like a swoop. And later on, I don't think that I show this, but I do take that Winsor & Newton iridescent medium, and I follow the mountain line, and then I take a round brush that I wet but dried off and blend out the line so it looks like it's kind of fading into the horizon. So essentially the mountain's horizon is kind of glowing. It's very subtle, but I think it looks kind of cool. I think I'm adding more of the dark, I'm adding some more purple and trying to separate some of the bigger patches of Aurora that I have done. And you're going to see me going back and forth with this. You're going to have to do this with this piece. It's gonna go through its ugly phase for some time. But like I said before, if you're kind of getting discouraged or frustrated, put it down and come back to it. Now I'm going to take some white and some water. That's just a little squirt bottle that I have. And I'm adding it to, there you go, you can see it again. I add it to the white, and I'm going to flick some stars onto the painting. I believe I may have added iridescent to that one as well, or at least the metallic white. So it ends up coming up pretty transparent. So you see me adding some bigger stars just by little circles, you know, dots with the paintbrush. And now I'm adding the bigger stars. These stars I did far too big in my opinion. I don't know what I don't know, but I mean, it's not too bad, but I just wish I had done them a little smaller. And I continue adding a couple more. In a few seconds, you're going to see that I go over them with the metallic pan pastel. It's very quick. I sped it up really quickly, so I'm going to start talking about it now. But I just take the pan pastel and kind of run it over the stars to try to kind of blend them into the aurora, because I think that they were just too much of like an eyesore. It was kind of taking away from the main element of the piece, which should have been the auroras. So you can take, you know, whatever mediums that you guys have, whatever supplies you guys have, and I would love to see the way that you guys interpret this. Like I said before, I'll have everything linked down below, all of the resources and where I got these ideas from and inspiration from. I can't wait to see everybody's Space Timber stuff. I wish that I had gotten this out to you guys sooner, but, you know, stuff happens. You see me here kind of just trying to figure out what I can do to make it look a little bit better. Now, mind you, when you take off the tape on the sides, it makes a huge difference. You're going to get those clean, crisp lines, and it just kind of overall gives a finished look to the piece. I'm still messing around, trying to add some more darks, and then I put the darks in, and then I take a dry brush and I blend it out, essentially blending out what I just did. There's a better shot where you can see I'm kind of putting in the darker tones of the background back in, kind of separating the auroras. And right about here is where I wish I would have left it. But you live and learn, right? You got to go through these trials and tribulations when you're creating to figure it out. Yeah, see? Swear I should have left it alone. But I now know. So that's the takeaway, right? Either way, I thought this was a blast. I had so much fun. You can see me contemplating here. It's funny. But yeah, here's the pan pastel. You can see me going over some of the white and adding some metallic to it. I add some purple, and then I'm going to unveil. Okay, so I know I've been doing a voiceover, but there's an awesome rainstorm that's going on right now. And I figured you guys might enjoy it just as much as I do. So I don't know if you'll be able to hear it in the background, but I figure let's end this off with unveiling these two bookmarks together, because I don't know about you, but pulling off the tape is some of my favorite, one of my favorite things to do. So here we go. I hope that you can possibly hear the storm in the background. I don't have a microphone on because my microphone is kind of eliminates all the other noise around. But oh, this tape is good. Do you guys see this line? Yes. Love it. Guys, look at that. Do you see all this? I mean, I went over a lot. Look at this line. That is freaking crisp. And that was the frog. Here, let me show you. Sorry, once again. That's my chair, that's not the thunder. But it sounds very similar. This is the frog tape. It's with the paint block technology. This is why I got it. Nice. Good score. Good find. So yeah, this was the first time that I was using this tape, Now, like I told you guys, I have so many videos recorded, but the way that they get uploaded, it's kind of going to be all scattered. But look at those crisp lines. I think it's gorgeous. I absolutely adore this tape and this project. This tape comes off super clean, crisp, and doesn't rip. I've used it a bunch of times now, and it hasn't ripped anything. There I am showing it again. I really do like it. I think you guys should try it. So yeah, these are the acrylic paintings. I had so much fun with this project. I really hope that you guys try it. Tag me in it. But on that note, thank you so much for watching. Bye!